Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another awesome episode of the Line Boss podcast. I am Heather Gray, aka the Line Boss, and I like to work with frustrated professionals who have been told that their labs look normal, but they feel anything but normal, right? Could it be chronic Lyme disease? It was with me. I help people dig a little deeper to get to the root causes of these issues instead of just throwing band-aids at symptoms. Today, we've got a little bit of a different guest on than I would typically have. It is Steve Farrell, and he is the CEO founder of the humanities team, which my husband actually works for. But I just know how important consciousness, spirituality, these kind of conversations are to healing long term. A person's mind, body, spirit, the earth, the whole nine yards, because it's all connected, right? And so we're not having enough of these conversations in, I think, just regular everyday media. So that's why I wanted to have him on. He's got a new book out called A New Universal Dream. It was absolutely awesome. You can't really see it from there, but I've got like 20 different pages that have been dog-eared and highlighted. And I didn't actually expect to find so much to have in common with you, Steve. So let's dig in a little deeper and welcome everyone. Welcome, Steve, to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Heather. Great to be here with you. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking time out. I know you're crazy busy schedule to do this. So tell us a little bit about, how you got started with the humanities team. I know a little bit of background. The book is called My Journey from Silicon Valley to a Life in Service to Humanity. Can you dig a little deeper on that?
You bet. So the book that you just held up, A New Universal Dream, yes, came out just recently, just a little over a month ago. And it's a true story. It starts with me, young man, age 12, long hair, hitchhiking around the country, single mom, six brothers and sisters, 1,300 square foot home. So probably a lot of us grew up that way. Very humble beginnings. But then my life ended up becoming kind of interesting because I moved right out of college out to the San Francisco Bay Area, Silicon Valley area, and I ended up starting a company there in 1990, right around the time the internet was born, and we were in data communications, supporting the Levi Strausses and Esprits and these big global organizations that wanted to create these data networks, I call it, where they have campuses all over the world. They want to connect their PCs and stuff. So two guys use furniture, teeny little executive suite, start a company there in 1990. I was in the right place at the right time. And boy, did we take off and grow. And then we started another company. From that first company, the first company went to 75 million in 10 years. The second one went to 75 million in 2 years. Both, right, real large. The first one we sold to NEC, the Japanese conglomerate. Now, what happened there, and that was the private jet world, by the way, where I'm in the club. Gavin Newsom was in my chapter. Hamid Moghadam, who runs the largest real estate equity trust in the whole world, Prologis, was a friend of mine in it. All of these amazing, bright, amazing people, speakers, etc. But like people here probably who have had their personal awakening, I had my personal awakening there in the middle of the 90s. And so this whole business thing, up and away, top line, bottom line growth, business associations became not important to me. We lose passion for things that we see are more, I'll call it like a kid's game where you're just growing companies, as a serial entrepreneur. And I lost passion all the way to selling these things, leaving the business association, moving my family to Boulder from Silicon Valley, and then starting humanities team with Neil Donald Walsh, author of Conversations with God, 20 years ago in
That
June.
was one of the things we had in common. Well, one of them was that we both started off with a paper route. So I thought that was kind of cool. I'm like, oh, me and Steve both had a paper route. And number two, it was your mom who told you to, or suggested that you read Conversations with God. And it was actually my mom who turned me on to that book as well. And that's who you co-founded Humanities Team with. So sorry for interrupting. I just got excited.
Yeah, no, that's a huge, we're guided to the things. Just people that are listening right now, you were guided to this program. This is not random that you're listening, that you are here for a reason, because we're actually not just gabbing back and forth. We're engaging. And boy, we're going to tell you a story that we think can support you on your conscious journey. That's why Heather and I are here now. And so And Neil and I then, yes, we launched Humanities Team 20 years ago. People thought we were completely lost our mind when it was all about awakening oneness with the divine, God, each other, all of life. But here we are, and look how far we've come. There's still a long way to go. The world is very, very challenged right now. But many of us have gone through this personal awakening, and it changes everything, just like me. I was whacked over the head as I had my personal awakening of, oh my God, I'm waking. I am God's son, as you are God's daughter, right? And you chose to have a life right now in the middle of this huge pivot, this shift of mankind that's going on. Well, you know why we chose to be here, to play a role, of course, to awaken to, oh my God, I'm not just this body that's going to go to bones and dust, as the scientists are sharing, right? Everything is, there's a universal consciousness animating all of life. That's one way, that people understand it. Yes, we're all a presence, even the earth and the animal and plant life, omnipresence. Everything is a part of this one consciousness, and science is affirming this. And so that's game changing. That's life changing. And it changes your whole identity. It's like, I'm no longer just Linda and Joe's son. They were the airport terminal. That's all they were. They were just the airport terminal delivering me from the Most High, where I came down and I said, okay, I'm going to be your arms and legs and lungs. This dream of people awakening and living great lives in their homes and communities and out in the world. That dream's my dream. So let's do it. Let's go. And so that's really what Humanities Team was about. And again, that's what our little podcast is about here today, really.
Absolutely. And so you talked about a spiritual awakening, a slap upside the head. I usually call it a cosmic 2x4 upside the head, right? I remember reading Eckhart Tolle's book, and he talked about being in a really dark, deep moment is when he kind of had his spiritual awakening. So what did yours look like?
Yeah, mine was unusual because a lot of times, and in fact, as I talk to people, most of the times it is more of that dark, deep moment. Mine was not that. I actually was, I was flying on private jets. And remember how I grew up. Remember how I grew up. I this was very foreign to me. Yeah, I even went to the private ski area that Gates and all those guys belonged to. All of that was going on. But in the midst of it, I had the cognitive dissonance of Steve, are you really here now just to be doing this kind of stuff? Remember, you're offspring of God, Steve. Is this really how you're going to spend your life? So this is what was going on with me. Cognitive dissonance of, hey, there's a bigger role you're supposed to play, man, than just this kind of playing around in treasure and stuff. And by the way, let me just say this so it's here. This treasure stuff does not create a happy life. Okay. We've heard these news accounts, and it's true. There were some families that were really happy, and that I thought, wow, they've really got it together. Many more, though, in that crowd were huge stress and pressure and relationships that were not doing well, with spouse, with kids, with best friends. It's a challenging world because what you're doing is you won the lottery and you want to keep it going. So you're putting all this time heads down into growing this thing, and it's creating all this pressure on everybody around you, including yourself. So that American dream thing where you're climbing to those top rungs and power, fame, and fortune, hey, that's just a mirage. That's just a mirage. So, but here's the good news is when we do what Heather and I are talking about here, and we live consciously, you find it. The delicious life, bam, you find it, and you enjoy your home. You love your work. You're called to your station in life. We can't do everything, but all of us can do something. We're called to that through our daily practice as we just quiet our minds and go to a communing place, with the divine. So that's how I found it. It wasn't in Silicon Valley. It was this work that led me to it.
Absolutely. And the funny sticky part is, and I've been trying to figure out how to ask this, having you on for a while now, because being a person who came from the background that you came from, I grew up in a trailer park, we didn't have any money, but still kind of struggling on the day to day, when I hear someone talk like yourself about, treasure's not where it's at, there's always just this little person in the back of my head going, well, let me try. Let me find out for myself. Right. Because money doesn't necessarily bring happiness, but it brings stuff like stability, like food, and, people with chronic illness. It provides, medicines and treatments and stuff like that. And I also know in a lot of spiritual cultures, money is not evil, so do you see what I'm trying to say? How do you balance those two worlds, right?
Right. So I do not have the money as evil. I never did. I never was money motivated. So when I was starting these companies, the people I was in these associations, all these entrepreneurs, business leaders, the ones that were money motivated, that were doing it for the money, you know what? They did not achieve it. They were not successful. It was the ones like myself that, I want to build a great company. I want to build a great culture. I want to have fun with the employees, and build something that our customers are proud of. And that then does then lead you to the treasure. Your company can be quite successful. Conscious business is a huge opportunity for all the entrepreneurs out there, because that's essentially what we're doing now. But the thing is it's a tool. So it's a tool that's supporting us. It's not that we're not trying to journey there to treasure. So I've always kept myself open to, sure, God, bring the treasure in to support me and my family and my work. Humanities team, Stephanie and I, as you know from reading the book, we put that first $1 million in to help it to grow through all those formative years. We needed that treasure, for Humanities team to grow into what it's become. So two things here. One, concentrate on the intention. Just like you're the line woman. You're helping people. You want to be the best, and maybe are the best line woman in the whole world, helping people heal and come into healthy and happy lives. And then with that pure intention, letting the abundance come in, just the boomerang effect, as I call it. It does happen where you're given vision, you're always given provision. And that provision is this boomerang effect. It blesses you, as you know, because I think you've seen my home, Heather. I live in a beautiful home. It's the one remnant from Silicon Valley days. I'm not in that 7-8 figure world anymore, but I do live in a beautiful home. I was able to buy that from my Silicon Valley days, and then I'm on a budget like everybody else. But this was part of the boomerang effect for me. It led to the wife, led to the kids who we adopted, led to the home, led to the work, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to have this conversation today, is because when it comes to healing, most people focus on treatment, but they also don't realize that the reason that they're sick is because things are out of balance, right? With their thoughts, with their emotions, with their family, with their relationship with money, with their relationship to stress, with their relationship to business. And if we don't take a look at all of these pieces to the puzzle, right? Because they're all connected. You can't just separate one from the other. And I just love, because I know you and Stephanie, and I reading the part about how you guys met and just gushing about her, and oh my gosh, it made my heart so happy. I absolutely adored reading that part in your book. And I just think your guys' love story is just something for the fairy tales. It's absolutely beautiful. And so again, I think that it helps with the consciousness that you're coming at it with, and the not, striving to be money focused or status, or, I get the arm candy, even though Stephanie is very brilliant and beautiful, there was a whole different layer to your guys' relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And as you know, it's in the book, it was very strange. This is even before my spiritual awakening, where I still had a close relationship with God, but I kept getting this download of, you want a day to marry a spiritual woman. I was like, okay, I've heard that about 1,000 times. I got it. It just kept coming through. It ended up being so incredibly important. That's why I kept getting pinged with it, because then the U-turn that I took, I mean, how many girlfriends and wives would say, what? When I came to them and said, I'm done. I'm now leaving business. I may never get another paycheck in my life again, but I need to do this. Most women would say, good, you go, man, but I'm not going there with you. And Stephanie was the one, she has that spiritual layer. She's very different than me, as you know, much, much more quiet, and that, but very in service herself. So it worked. So thank God that I did get pounded on the head with that.
Absolutely beautiful. So actually, we're not going to cut for break, because today is a little bit shorter show than normal. So this is just so juicy. I just want to keep going. So dive in a little deeper on yeah, let's go deeper into the book. So we've talked about your awakening and leaving Silicon Valley. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So humanities team, then we launched humanities team in June 2003. So what we've grown into is pretty cool. We've grown into the largest global nonprofit in transformational education. And if that sounds, pretty big and you're wondering about that, you go to Humanities Stream with a Y, humanitiesstream.net. You're going to go into the site. You'll see the site with all of the hundreds of transformational education programs, live programs. Tomorrow, there's a program starting with Wayne Dyer's daughters, Sage and Serena Dyer. They're doing a twice-a-month program. Then shortly, Urban Laszlo out of Europe is starting an annual. It's a 12-month-long program that's every week. And there are other incredible live programs. And as you know, actually, Heather is a host on some of these programs. She's hosting the Dyer daughters, in fact, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So you can go see Heather, on the humanitiesstream.net, all the live programs, video trainings. But more than anything, you know what it is? It's a community, and it's a community that's supporting people on this conscious journey. Because the things that Heather and I are talking about here, as we know, a lot of times in our own home with our spouse and our kids, they're not like, what? Conscious and oneness and what? So we're kind of standing on an island alone. So what we've done is created this big community, video trainings, live programs, even we do viewing parties where people are going through master classes together that are very popular. Some people have got all these kindred spirits around them, guys and girls, and older and younger. And so it's a big community that's supporting people on their conscious journey. Now, 3 things here that Humanities team wants to see happen and that I talk about in the book. 1, educate. Okay, educate yourself. So if when we talk about the oneness of humanity, a universal consciousness animating all of humanity, and said differently in the spiritual terms, offspring of the divine, sons and daughters actually of the divine. If any of that sounds a little foreign, okay, educate. We got just tons of master classes and transformational education programs. Neil Donald Walsh and I just created one. It's brand new. It's called The Art and Science of Conscious Living. And the reason I'm going to talk about this one for a second is we did something we've never done in 20 years. We spent 9 months creating this program where we gathered up all the wisdom of conscious living, put it into 16 video trainings. There's mentoring, all this stuff. And we let you name your own price. Never done that before, because we have a team, there's payroll and stuff. So we can't just give away everything. But we said, right now, with what's going on in the world, there are a lot of people that are kind of fatigued right now, right? That are weary, that even feel anxiety and these things. And then, as we know in the collective, oh my God, I don't think I need to go down that list, right? It's a challenging time in today's world. So Neil and I said with Humanities team, let's create a program that puts it all together. And then even if somebody has no money at all, not a penny, let's let them go through this masterclass to support them right now, so they can be part of this shift, this pivot into this whole new way of living on the earth. So education is one. I promise you, if you're part of our Humanities Stream community, there'll be way more education than you'll ever need. We created 55 new programs last year. We'll create that many this year. And there are hundreds of programs there in the library already. The quality of the library is unsurpassed. Wait till you visually look at the library of these programs, unbelievable. So educate is where it starts. Next one is embody and express. Okay. So educate is like you go to a Michelin restaurant, unbelievable food. It's put on the table and you look at it and embody, express. If you don't eat it, then you just educate. There's no embody. You're just looking at the meal. You're like, wow, this is extraordinary, but you never eat or consume that meal. Likewise with transformational education. Once we learn these things and we take them in, we daily practice, we sit with them, we really, feel into it, and we go, this is true for me. This is true for me. Then, okay, time to really embody it. Let me start living that way, with my daily practice and these things, being intentional. These are some of the things we do on the conscious journey. So embody and express, and then this delicious living. Okay, that's where we begin to experience. It's like, wow, I'm kind of floating on a raft above this up and down world where, today's a terrible day and tomorrow's a kind of a good day. We still have all the challenges I have, and Heather and Jim know in my home. One of our kids that was adopted, he's got some real challenges. There's some challenges still. I'm not trying to say those go away, but what I am saying is who we are throughout our day and how we approach things is completely different. So embody, express, and then the third one, these are all E words, is engage. Engage others. That's why Heather and I are here. I love talking to Heather, having a beautiful conversation. We're not here just for Heather and I to talk. We're actually here for every single person that's watching this program to invite you to, yeah, come on, delicious living. We're every one of you. You're a son or daughter of the Most High. You're here at the moment of the great shift of the whole planet. You're being invited to really stretch into this fully, live into it as big as you can, and then invite other people to live into it as big as you can. So these three, education, embody, engage, are things that my book gets into, that humanities team is about. This is what we do.
And can I get an amen? Oh my gosh, Steve, you brought that home so beautifully. It was so much enthusiasm. I absolutely adore it. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm going to name drop here, but like Humanities Stream, you got people like Greg Braden, Michael Beckwith, James Van Prague has got a new series out there. And yes, yours truly, I've got a little cooking series on there, and I've got my own little health course on there. But for the price at which you get and the type of education right now, actually, Jim and I are taking how to become like a medium with Suzanne Giesman.
Yeah.
And we'll be taking Karen Noe's class here soon next, because we're wanting to really play full out. And that means be connected and be with spirit and not have to try to figure. I think that's how we've gotten on our raft, is because we're connecting more into the divine, and we're trusting in our intuition, in our higher power, in our to guide us, right? And tapping into those gifts are kind of what are helping us see it from a whole different perspective. And so it's, I mean, anything from ancient, what's your big one with Nassim Haramein?
Yeah. So forbidden science. Yeah.
Forbidden science. Thank you.
Yeah. That's huge. Also, as you mentioned too, I use Suzanne's method myself. It's called the Blasphemy method, is one of hers that I use. And I talked to my sister who departed in the 80s, my dad, my grandmother, Stephanie's mom, angels and guides all the time. And it might sound, how in the world do you do that? It actually is not that hard. Suzanne really breaks it down. So does James Van Prague, by the way. So does Karen Noe. So, and then the near-death experience too, don't miss those. So Dr. Eben Alexander, who wrote Proof of Heaven, lift the veil fully, and you will realize, if you spend a little time in the community, we don't use the word death in my home. There is the body, of course, is left behind, but there is no death. I promise you. That's a fiction. That's just a fiction.
Absolutely beautiful. We are getting close to being at the end here. So what little nuggets would you like to leave our listeners with?
Well, so my nuggets first, the book. Okay, if you go to anewuniversaldream.com, a newuniversaldream.com. So the first 4 chapters are opened up, and the bookstores vary. $18.99 is the retail price, but I've seen it's selling for anywhere from $14.25 to $16.50. It seems, as they discount the book. Save your receipt, because on that site, anewuniversaldream.com, if you enter the receipt number, well, Humanities Team is giving you one of my master classes called Conscious Leadership, which is a total gem. It's a $299 masterclass. So as you can see, wow, for a little bit price of the book, you get this huge masterclass. And the book itself is I think, transformational. It was written to support people on the conscious journey. As you know, throughout the book, Heather, what I do is I say, wow, was I whacked over the head on this one? Whoa. I really learned a lot here. These are the things I learned, and the things that you can learn too. That was really the reason for the book, was to support people, that are on this conscious journey. We do have these arduous moments where we're doing things, and your parents and people that are well-meaning say, why are you doing that? Well, I share of all those moments and what I did. And I think I'll give people a few tools for their own tool shed.
Yeah.
And
sorry, go ahead.
My final invitation here is, again, this is not I'm not trying to create a marketing thing here or something. Every person listening is truly a son or daughter of the Most High. We are that. I promise you. I know from the work that I've been doing for 20 years that this is what we are. We will return to that. There's a life review when we return. In the life review, what we experience is all of the people around us throughout our life and what they were thinking, feeling, and seeing. That's the life review. And then the question that's asked at the very end is, now, did you and God, because we're one, achieve what you wanted in that lifetime? Or did you come up short? And then that then becomes something for your next lifetime when you embody. If you came up short, you can kind of imprint that to your next embodiment. Why would we want to come up short of anything? Especially with the earth and the shape it's in now, and we got kids, and we want to create a flourishing, sustainable planet now, and we don't have that now. Existential crisis is this term out there. Why in the world would we want to sleepwalk around in this optical delusion, as Albert Einstein called it, where we think everything is separate and just gather treasure, play a kid's game, as I called it? Why would we want to do that with our life and then go through a life review where that didn't feel very good? The people, look at all the people and what they were thinking around me as I was doing this stupid stuff, versus just being our best self. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to be excellent all the time. Just do your best. That's all. We just do our best every day. We're a loving person, I'll call it. That's what the oneness is. Loving person, loving presence. And we just do our best. And you know what? Then we can lean into it. Then we can support this whole healing and remedy and alchemy that is needed out in the world. And in our home, we'll feel the fruit of that, and we'll feel it in our work. And then we'll feel it at the end of our life. And so my book is about me moving that ladder that was leaning against the wrong wall. I moved it. I put it against this new wall that we're talking about. And my invitation to you, each person, is to, if you haven't moved that ladder already, consider moving it. It'll be the best thing that you ever did. You've got an everlasting life. Make this one count to the max and have a blast doing it, and just help the planet a little bit and these future generations that are coming along behind us.
Absolutely. And so he did tell us again where people can find the book.
Yeah. So anewuniversaldream.com.
And how about that streaming platform?
Yeah. And then humanitiesstream.net. Humanitiesstream.net is the streaming platform. And then Humanities Team with a Y. Humanities Stream is with a Y too. Humanitiesstream.net with a Y. Humanitiesteam.org with a Y. And then all of the free programs, Global Oneness Summit, my book, free programs, masterclasses, all of it is there. Those three sites will give you a whole lot of food for thought.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I'm embarrassed to say this, but my husband has been working for your company for quite some years. And I've known you, I've known Stephanie, and I wasn't very involved. And then I sat down because I knew I wanted to have you on, but I didn't know why. And I thought, well, I should probably read the book first, and that might help me. And the minute I got done reading the book, I absolutely rescheduled you. And then I asked to be a part, how do I volunteer? How do I get involved? Because it sparked something more in me, because I was seeing that I was being a little too money motivated myself and not enough spiritually heart-led. And that's not the person I want to be. So I thank you for helping me realize and come back to me again, right? So then I can continue to help others, in this form and others. But what a blessing you are. What a blessing you are to this world. And go get your copy. Everybody else, stay tuned. Have a healthy day. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being the example.
Instead of binge watching on any old TV tonight, why not feed your soul and your heart and your spirit and check out Humanities Stream Plus, where you can get shows with Bruce Lipton, Shamini Jane, Greg Braden, Michael Beckwith, and all the greatest thought leaders, consciousness, spirituality, cooking, health, sound healing, you name it, they're on this platform. And I am actually hosting a call with Wayne Dyer's daughters, Serena and Sage Dyer. I also helped host a call last week with Bruce Lipton and Shamini Jane. So there's always something amazing going on, something to get inspired with, something different on the TV. So instead of just tuning out every night and shutting your brain off, shutting your heart off, why not get inspired? Why not get educated? Why not learn something? Why not be in community? Check out Humanities Stream Plus. You'll find the link in my bio, or you can message me for more information. Thanks. Stay tuned. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode, even if you found one little piece of inspiring nugget in it. This is how we change people's lives. This is how people get better. This is how people get hope. So please make sure that you are liking, sharing, and subscribing. Stay tuned for the next episode. You're not going to want to miss it. And while you're at it, head to my website, thelineBoss.com, and make sure you download your free video series, Real Cooking for Real Life. Learn amazing, delicious meals in 20 minutes or less. Learn why and how we cook certain things that are toxin-free, free of contaminants, and how to get a delicious, healthy meal under 20 minutes. You're not going to want to miss out. That's thelineBoss.com.